Welcome. Feel free to relax and drift away to some soothing Marvel lore. Books of Doom. Victor Von Doom was born into a world of hardship and mystery in the secluded European country of Latveria, a land nestled in the shadow of the Carpathian Mountains. From the moment of his birth, Victor's life was shaped by the stark contrasts of his homeland. Latveria, with its picturesque landscapes of rolling hills, dense forests, and ancient castles, was also a land marred by deep-seated poverty and persecution. The Von Doom family, part of the marginalized Romani tribe, lived a nomadic and precarious existence, constantly moving to avoid the ire of the ruling class. Victor's father, Werner Von Doom, was a compassionate and skilled doctor. Despite the meager resources available to him, Werner was dedicated to helping his people. He was known for his unwavering commitment to his patients, often going without food or sleep to tend to the sick and injured. Werner's gentle nature and medical expertise made him a beloved figure within the tribe, but his work was fraught with danger due to the constant threat of persecution from the Latvian authorities. Cynthia Von Doom, Victor's mother, was a strikingly beautiful woman with a deep well of mystical knowledge. She was both revered and feared by those who knew of her abilities. Cynthia was a sorceress, skilled in the dark arts, and her powers were a source of both protection and peril for her family. She possessed a fierce love for her son and husband, and her primary concern was always their well-being. However, Cynthia's attempts to use her magic to protect her people ultimately led to her downfall. In a desperate bid to shield her tribe from the oppressive regime, she made a pact with Mephisto, a powerful and malevolent demon. This pact, intended to bring salvation, spiraled out of control, resulting in her tragic death at the hands of the very forces she sought to harness. The loss of Cynthia Von Doom was a profound and formative event in young Victor's life. The sight of his mother succumbing to the dark forces she had invoked left an indelible mark on his psyche. From that moment on, Victor was consumed by a desire for power and control, a desire rooted in his need to understand and conquer the forces that had taken his mother from him. After Cynthia's death, Werner Von Doom was determined to protect his son from further harm. He tried to shield Victor from the harsh realities of their world, but their lives were irrevocably changed. The ruling class, suspicious of Cynthia's sorcery, continued to persecute the Von Dooms. Werner's medical skills were both a blessing and a curse. His reputation as a healer brought him into the orbit of the Latvian nobility, who sought his services but also viewed him and his family with disdain. One particularly harsh winter, the Baron of Latveria demanded that Werner treat his wife, who had fallen gravely ill. Despite his best efforts, Werner could not save her. The Baron's wrath was swift and merciless. Fearing for his life and that of his son, Werner took Victor and fled into the mountains. They sought refuge from the Baron's soldiers, but the bitter cold and harsh conditions proved too much for Werner. He succumbed to the elements, dying in Victor's arms. Victor was left an orphan, his heart hardened by the loss of both his parents to the cruelties of their world. With both his parents gone, Victor returned to his village, now driven by a burning desire to avenge their deaths and to understand the power his mother wielded. He discovered his mother's hidden chest of mystical artifacts and began to study them fervently. His intellect and innate affinity for both science and magic allowed him to make rapid progress. He created devices and performed feats that amazed and terrified those around him. He crafted mechanical wonders and delved deeper into the arcane arts, blending the two disciplines in ways that had never been seen before. Victor's talents did not go unnoticed. His extraordinary intellect and remarkable inventions earned him a scholarship to Empire State University in the United States, one of the world's most prestigious institutions. This opportunity marked a significant turning point in Victor's life. Leaving Latveria behind, he traveled to America, determined to further his knowledge and capabilities. At the university, he met Reed Richards, a fellow prodigy. Initially, there was mutual respect between the two, but Victor's arrogance and singular focus on his goals quickly created tension. Victor's time at the university was marked by his obsession with surpassing all those around him. He began a secret experiment to create a device that would allow him to communicate with the dead, specifically his mother. Despite warnings from Reed Richards about potential flaws in his calculations, Victor pressed on. The experiment ended in disaster. The device exploded, severely scarring Victor's face. This event was a turning point, deepening his sense of isolation and resentment. He blamed Reed for the failure, convinced that his warnings had been an attempt to undermine him. Expelled from the university for his reckless experiments, Victor wandered the world, seeking greater power and knowledge. His journey eventually led him to a remote monastery in Tibet. The monks there recognized his potential and offered to help him create a suit of armor, both to protect him and to symbolize his transformation. The armor was a marvel of both science and mysticism, and when Victor donned it, he took on the mantle of Dr. Doom. The suit was both a source of power and a prison, as he chose to wear the mask permanently to hide his disfigured face. Thus, Victor Von Doom was reborn as Dr. Doom, a figure of immense intellect, power, and an unyielding will to dominate and reshape the world according to his vision. Victor Von Doom, having transformed himself into Dr. Doom, was now poised to reclaim his homeland and exact revenge on those who had wronged him. His journey had forged him into a being of immense intellect and power, and he was determined to use these gifts to reshape his destiny and that of Latveria. Upon returning to Latveria, Victor found his country still languishing under the oppressive rule of the Baron. The Latverian people remained impoverished, their lives dictated by the cruel whims of the aristocracy. Doom viewed himself as a savior, destined to liberate his people and bring order through his unmatched intellect and iron-fisted rule. He understood that to achieve his goals, he would need to secure the loyalty and support of his people. Doom began his campaign by demonstrating his technological prowess. He unveiled a series of inventions designed to improve the quality of life for the common people. Advanced medical devices cured diseases that had long plagued the population. Agricultural innovations increased crop yields, ensuring that no one went hungry. These marvels of technology were met with awe and gratitude by the Latverians, who began to see Doom as a benevolent figure, capable of delivering them from their suffering. As Doom's influence grew, he carefully orchestrated a rebellion against the Baron's regime. He covertly supplied the resistance with advanced weaponry and tactical guidance, ensuring their success in key skirmishes. Doom's strategic brilliance was evident as he outmaneuvered the Baron's forces, using his knowledge of both science and warfare to gain the upper hand. The rebellion gained momentum, and soon, the Baron's grip on Latveria began to weaken. In a decisive battle, Doom led the final assault on the Baron's castle. His forces, bolstered by the advanced technology he had provided, overwhelmed the Baron's defenses. Doom himself confronted the Baron, a man he viewed as the embodiment of the oppression and suffering inflicted upon his people. The confrontation was swift and brutal. Doom's technological superiority and unmatched combat skills left the Baron no chance of victory. The tyrant was defeated, and Doom stood triumphant. With the fall of the Baron's regime, Doom declared himself the new ruler of Latveria. He promised a new era of prosperity and order, pledging to use his knowledge and power to elevate the nation to greatness. The people, grateful for their liberation and impressed by Doom's capabilities, accepted his rule. They saw in him a strong leader who could bring stability and progress. Doom wasted no time in consolidating his power. He implemented sweeping reforms, using his technological expertise to transform Latveria into a modern state. Infrastructure projects modernized the country's roads, bridges, and buildings. Education and healthcare systems were overhauled, ensuring that all Latvians had access to the benefits of Doom's advancements. Under his rule, Latveria began to flourish, its people enjoying a standard of living previously thought impossible. However, Doom's rule was not without its darker aspects. He enforced strict laws and demanded absolute loyalty. Dissent was not tolerated, and those who opposed his regime were swiftly dealt with. Doom's secret police ensured that any threat to his authority was eliminated. His methods, while effective, were harsh, and fear became a tool he used to maintain control. Despite the improvements in their lives, the Latvian people lived under the constant watch of their new ruler, aware that any act of defiance could lead to severe consequences. As Doom solidified his control over Latveria, he turned his attention to broader ambitions. He saw himself not just as the ruler of a small European country, but as a figure destined to reshape the world. His encounters with the Fantastic Four, especially Reed Richards, were driven by his desire to prove his superiority. He devised numerous schemes to defeat them, each more elaborate and dangerous than the last. Doom's first major confrontation with the Fantastic Four occurred shortly after he assumed power. He constructed a device capable of harnessing vast amounts of cosmic energy, intending to use it to assert his dominance. The Fantastic Four, alerted to Doom's plans, confronted him in Latveria. The battle was intense, with Doom utilizing his advanced technology and mystical knowledge against the superpowered team. Despite his formidable abilities, the Fantastic Four managed to thwart his plan, forcing Doom to retreat. This defeat only fueled his determination to succeed. Doom's rivalry with Reed Richards became a central aspect of his life. He viewed Richards as his intellectual equal, and their encounters were a means for Doom to demonstrate his superiority. Each defeat at the hands of the Fantastic Four deepened his resentment and spurred him to devise even more complex and dangerous plots. Doom's obsession with victory over Richards and his team highlighted his relentless pursuit of power and his refusal to accept failure. As Doom continued his quest for dominance, he delved deeper into the mystical arts. His mother's death had left him with an unresolved need to understand and master the forces of magic. He sought out powerful sorcerers and mystical artifacts, further enhancing his already formidable abilities. This combination of science and sorcery made Doom a uniquely dangerous adversary, capable of challenging even the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. In his pursuit of mystical power, Doom's path crossed with Mephisto, the demon responsible for his mother's death. The encounter was a defining moment for Doom. He sought to free his mother's soul from Mephisto's grasp, a quest that tested both his magical prowess and his resolve. The battle with Mephisto was both physical and psychological, as Doom confronted the trauma of his past and his deepest fears. Despite his immense power, Doom's attempt to liberate his mother ultimately failed, leaving him with a sense of profound loss and vulnerability. Throughout his rise to power, Doom's character was defined by his complex motivations. He genuinely sought to improve the lives of his people, and his rule brought tangible benefits to Latveria. However, his methods were driven by a need for control and a desire to prove his superiority. This duality made him a multifaceted and compelling figure, capable of both great benevolence and ruthless tyranny. Victor Von Doom's journey from a persecuted Romani child to the ruler of Latveria and one of the most powerful figures in the Marvel Universe was marked by tragedy, ambition, and an unyielding will. His rise to power was not just a personal triumph, but a transformation that reshaped an entire nation. Doom's legacy as a leader, scientist, and sorcerer is a testament to his extraordinary intellect and indomitable spirit, qualities that ensured his place as one of the most formidable and enduring characters in the Marvel Universe. Victor Von Doom's journey back to Latveria was not just a physical return, but a psychological one. Every step he took on Latverian soil resonated with the memories of his childhood, the injustices he and his people had faced, the loss of his parents, and the oppressive hand of the Baron that had driven his family to ruin. Doom's return was marked by a profound sense of purpose. He was no longer the boy who had fled in fear. He had returned as Dr. Doom, a figure of immense power and intellect, ready to reclaim his homeland. Upon his arrival, Doom quickly assessed the state of Latveria. The people were still suffering under the Baron's rule, living in squalor and fear. The sight of their misery hardened Doom's resolve. He saw their suffering as a reflection of his own past and vowed to liberate them, not out of compassion but as a means to establish his own dominion and exact revenge on the oppressors. Doom's first move was to gain the trust and support of the people. He began by introducing a series of technological advancements that dramatically improved their quality of life. Advanced medical devices were deployed to cure diseases that had long plagued the population, from common ailments to more serious conditions. These devices, products of Doom's unmatched scientific genius, worked wonders, earning him the gratitude and admiration of the people. Next, Doom turned his attention to agriculture. Latveria had long struggled with food shortages, with many of its citizens going hungry. Doom introduced innovative agricultural techniques and machinery that revolutionized farming in the region. Crops that had previously failed now flourished, and food became abundant. These improvements were not just acts of benevolence but strategic maneuvers designed to win the hearts and minds of the Latverians, ensuring their loyalty and support. As Doom's influence grew, he began to secretly organize and arm a resistance movement. He provided the rebels with advanced weaponry, far superior to anything the Baron's forces possessed. He also offered tactical guidance, teaching them guerrilla warfare tactics and how to use his technology to their advantage. The resistance, emboldened by Doom's support and inspired by his vision, began to challenge the Baron's forces in a series of increasingly bold skirmishes. Doom's strategic brilliance was evident in these conflicts. He orchestrated each encounter to maximize the impact of the Resistance's victories, weakening the Baron's hold on the country while minimizing casualties among the rebels. His ability to predict and counter the Baron's moves made him a formidable adversary. Each victory for the Resistance was a step closer to Doom's ultimate goal, the overthrow of the Baron's regime. The turning point came when Doom led a direct assault on the Baron's fortress. This was not just a battle for power, but a symbolic act to reclaim his homeland and erase the scars of his past. Doom's forces, armed with his advanced technology, launched a coordinated attack that overwhelmed the Baron's defenses. The battle was fierce, but Doom's strategic brilliance and technological superiority ensured his victory. In the heart of the fortress, Doom confronted the Baron. This encounter was deeply personal for Doom, a culmination of years of suffering and a thirst for vengeance. The Baron, though powerful and ruthless, was no match for Doom's intellect and the advanced armor he wore. The battle was swift and decisive. Doom's superior combat skills and technological edge left the Baron defeated and humiliated. With the Baron's fall, the symbol of Latverian oppression was shattered. With the Baron's regime toppled, Doom declared himself the new ruler of Latveria. His first act as leader was to address the people, assuring them of a new era of prosperity and order. He promised to use his knowledge and power to elevate Latveria to greatness. The people, who had suffered for so long under the Baron's tyranny, were ready for change. They accepted Doom as their ruler, seeing in him a savior who could bring stability and progress. Doom immediately set about consolidating his power. He implemented sweeping reforms to modernize Latveria, Infrastructure projects transformed the country's roads, bridges, and buildings. The education system was overhauled, with a focus on science and technology, reflecting Doom's belief in the power of intellect. Healthcare improvements ensured that all Latvians had access to the advanced medical care that Doom had introduced. Under his rule, Latvia began to flourish, becoming a model of efficiency and progress. However, Doom's rule was also marked by an iron-fisted approach to governance. He enforced strict laws and demanded absolute loyalty. Dissent was not tolerated, and those who opposed his regime were swiftly dealt with. Doom's secret police, a shadowy and efficient force, ensured that any threat to his authority was eliminated. The people, though benefiting from the improvements in their lives, lived under the constant watch of their new ruler, aware that any act of defiance could lead to severe consequences. As Doom consolidated his power in Latvia, he turned his attention to broader ambitions. He saw himself as a global player, destined to reshape the world according to his vision. His encounters with other superpowered beings, particularly the Fantastic Four, were driven by his desire to prove his superiority. He viewed Reed Richards as his intellectual equal, and their rivalry became a defining aspect of his life. Each confrontation with the Fantastic Four was an opportunity for Doom to demonstrate his prowess and test his limits. One of Doom's early schemes involved the construction of a device capable of harnessing vast amounts of cosmic energy. He intended to use this device to assert his dominance on a global scale. The Fantastic Four, alerted to Doom's plans, confronted him in Latvia. The ensuing battle was intense, with Doom utilizing his advanced technology and mystical knowledge against the superpowered team. Despite his formidable abilities, the Fantastic Four managed to thwart his plan, forcing Doom to retreat. This defeat only fueled his determination to succeed. Doom's rivalry with Reed Richards was not merely a clash of egos, but a deep-seated obsession. He viewed Richards as the only person who could challenge his intellect, and each defeat at the hands of the Fantastic Four deepened his resentment. This rivalry drove Doom to devise even more complex and dangerous plots, each one a testament to his relentless pursuit of power and his refusal to accept failure. As Doom continued his quest for dominance, he delved deeper into the mystical arts. His mother's death had left him with an unresolved need to understand and master the forces of magic. He sought out powerful sorcerers and mystical artifacts, further enhancing his already formidable abilities. This combination of science and sorcery made Doom a uniquely dangerous adversary, capable of challenging even the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. In his pursuit of mystical power, Doom's path crossed with Mephisto, the demon responsible for his mother's death. The encounter was a defining moment for Doom. He sought to free his mother's soul from Mephisto's grasp, a quest that tested both his magical prowess and his resolve. The battle with Mephisto was both physical and psychological, as Doom confronted the trauma of his past and his deepest fears. Despite his immense power, Doom's attempt to liberate his mother ultimately failed, leaving him with a sense of profound loss and vulnerability. Throughout his rise to power, Doom's character was defined by his complex motivations. He genuinely sought to improve the lives of his people, and his rule brought tangible benefits to Latvia. However, his methods were driven by a need for control and a desire to prove his superiority. This duality made him a multifaceted and compelling figure, capable of both great benevolence and ruthless tyranny. Victor Von Doom's journey from a persecuted Romani child to the ruler of Latvia and one of the most powerful figures in the Marvel Universe was marked by tragedy, ambition, and an unyielding will. His rise to power was not just a personal triumph, but a transformation that reshaped an entire nation. Doom's legacy as a leader, scientist, and sorcerer is a testament to his extraordinary intellect and indomitable spirit, qualities that ensured his place as one of the most formidable and enduring characters in the Marvel Universe. Victor Von Doom, now known as Dr. Doom, established himself as the ruler of Latveria, but his ambitions extended far beyond the borders of his homeland. His thirst for power and his desire to prove his superiority drove him to confront one of the most formidable groups of heroes in the world, the Fantastic Four. Doom's conflict with the Fantastic Four was rooted in a deep personal vendetta against Reed Richards, a man he viewed as his intellectual equal and the only person who could challenge his genius. Doom's first major confrontation with the Fantastic Four began with a carefully crafted plan to capture the team and showcase his superiority. Using his vast technological resources, Doom devised a scheme to lure the Fantastic Four into a trap. He sent an invitation to the Baxter Building, the team's headquarters, under the guise of a diplomatic envoy from Latveria. The letter promised a peaceful meeting to discuss mutual interests. However, Doom's true intention was to capture the team and use them as pawns in his larger game of power. The Fantastic Four, consisting of Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Susan Storm, Invisible Woman, Johnny Storm, Human Torch, and Ben Grimm, the Thing, were suspicious but decided to meet the envoy. Upon their arrival, they were ambushed by Doom's advanced robotic soldiers, known as Doombots. Despite their formidable abilities, the team was caught off guard and overwhelmed by the sheer number of Doombots. They were captured and transported to Doom's castle in Latveria. At the castle, Doom revealed himself and his intentions. He presented the captured Fantastic Four to the people of Latveria, showcasing his victory over the world-renowned heroes as a demonstration of his power. He intended to use the team to further his scientific experiments, extracting their unique abilities for his own purposes. Doom's fascination with Reed Richards was particularly evident. He saw Richards as a mirror of his own intellect and sought to prove his superiority once and for all. Reed Richards, ever the brilliant strategist, began formulating an escape plan. He studied the technology and defenses within Doom's castle, identifying potential weaknesses. Meanwhile, Doom, confident in his victory, underestimated the resilience and resourcefulness of the Fantastic Four. Richards coordinated with his teammates, each using their unique abilities to disrupt Doom's security systems. The Invisible Woman created force fields to protect them from the Doombots. The Human Torch used his fiery abilities to sabotage the castle's power supply, and the Thing utilized his immense strength to break through barriers. As they fought their way through the castle, the Fantastic Four confronted Doom in his throne room. The battle was intense, with Doom utilizing his advanced armor and mystical knowledge against the team. However, the combined strength and ingenuity of the Fantastic Four proved to be too much for Doom. Reed Richards, using his scientific acumen, managed to disable Doom's armor temporarily, giving the team the upper hand. They escaped the castle, vowing to stop Doom's ambitions. Doom, furious at his defeat, vowed revenge. He began to devise even more elaborate and dangerous schemes to defeat the Fantastic Four and humiliate Reed Richards. His next plan involved the use of the Cosmic Cube, a powerful artifact capable of altering reality itself. Doom sought to obtain the cube and use its power to reshape the world according to his vision, eliminating any opposition. Doom's search for the Cosmic Cube led him to confrontations with other powerful beings and organizations, including S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers. He navigated these challenges with his characteristic cunning and ruthlessness, ultimately obtaining the cube. With its power in his grasp, Doom launched an all-out assault on the Fantastic Four. He used the cube to create an alternate reality where he was the supreme ruler and the Fantastic Four were his subjugated servants. In this twisted reality, Doom reveled in his power, but Reed Richards' intellect remained a thorn in his side. Richards, even in this altered state, began to unravel the nature of the reality they were trapped in. He communicated with his teammates, slowly breaking free from Doom's control. The Fantastic Four's combined efforts ultimately disrupted Doom's hold on the Cosmic Cube, causing the alternate reality to collapse. Doom, once again defeated, retreated to Latveria to regroup. He reflected on his failures and realized that brute force alone would not bring him victory. He began to explore other avenues of power, delving deeper into the mystical arts. Doom's quest for magical power led him to seek out the ancient sorcerer, Doctor Strange. He believed that mastering the arcane would give him the edge needed to finally defeat the Fantastic Four. Doom's journey into the mystical world brought him into conflict with Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. The two engaged in a battle of wills and magical prowess, with Doom demonstrating his rapidly growing abilities. Although he did not defeat Strange, Doom managed to obtain a significant amount of mystical knowledge, further enhancing his already formidable arsenal. Returning to Latveria, Doom combined his scientific and mystical expertise to create a new plan. He constructed a device that could harness the power of both technology and magic, a fusion that he believed would make him unstoppable. Doom's ambitions now extended beyond merely defeating the Fantastic Four. He aimed to reshape the world in his image, establishing a new world order under his control. Doom's next confrontation with the Fantastic Four was one of his most dangerous yet. He lured the team to Latveria once more, this time using a combination of technological traps and mystical wards to ensnare them. The battle that ensued was epic in scale, with the Fantastic Four fighting against an array of Doom's inventions and spells. Despite their best efforts, the team found themselves on the brink of defeat. In a climactic moment, Doom unleashed the full power of his fusion device, creating a massive surge of energy that threatened to annihilate everything in its path. Reed Richards, realizing the extent of the danger, devised a desperate plan to counteract the device. He instructed the Human Torch to channel his flames into the device's core, causing a controlled explosion that neutralized its power. The explosion created a massive shockwave, devastating Doom's castle and scattering the combatants. The Fantastic Four, battered but alive, regrouped and managed to escape Latveria once more. Doom, severely wounded and his plans in ruins, watched as his enemies fled. Despite his failure, he swore that he would never cease his efforts to defeat the Fantastic Four and prove his superiority over Reed Richards. Doom's conflict with the Fantastic Four continued to define his life. Each defeat only fueled his obsession, driving him to greater lengths in his pursuit of power. He continued to innovate, creating new technologies and delving deeper into the mystical arts. His encounters with the Fantastic Four became legendary, each battle a testament to his relentless ambition and unyielding will. Victor Von Doom's journey was one of perpetual conflict and relentless pursuit of power. His quest to prove his superiority over Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four was a reflection of his own insecurities and need for validation. Despite his many failures, Doom remained one of the most formidable and enduring figures in the Marvel Universe. His legacy defined by his genius, his ambition, and his unyielding resolve. Doom's relentless pursuit of power and his rivalry with the Fantastic Four did not cease. In his next attempt to conquer the Fantastic Four, Doom devised a plan to infiltrate their ranks and dismantle them from within. Utilizing his mastery of robotics and disguise, Doom created a perfect android duplicate of himself, imbued with his memories and personality. This Doombot was sent to pose as a defector from Doom's regime, claiming to seek asylum with the Fantastic Four. The Doombot, under the guise of Victor Von Doom, presented itself at the Baxter Building, pleading for protection from its supposed creator. The Fantastic Four, initially skeptical, conducted numerous tests to ensure the Doombot's authenticity. Satisfied that the Doombot was indeed a genuine defector, they cautiously accepted it into their fold, unaware that Doom was monitoring every interaction and learning their secrets through his creation. As the Doombot integrated into the team, it began to subtly sow discord and mistrust among the members. It planted seeds of doubt about Reed Richards' leadership and his decisions, exacerbating existing tensions within the team. The Doombot's actions led to a series of misunderstandings and conflicts, weakening the team's cohesion and effectiveness. Meanwhile, the real Doom was preparing his next move. With the Fantastic Four distracted and divided, he launched a multi-pronged attack on their headquarters. His Doombots, armed with the latest technological advancements, breached the Baxter Building's defenses. The Fantastic Four, caught off guard and weakened by their internal strife, struggled to repel the invasion. In the midst of the chaos, the Doombot revealed its true allegiance, turning against the Fantastic Four and attacking them from within. The team was pushed to their limits, fighting on multiple fronts against an enemy that knew their every weakness. Doom's plan seemed destined for success, as the Fantastic Four faced imminent defeat. However, Reed Richards' ingenuity once again proved to be Doom's undoing. Richards, suspecting the Doombot's true nature, had secretly developed a failsafe to counteract its programming. In a desperate gambit, he activated the failsafe, causing the Doombot to malfunction and self-destruct. The explosion disabled many of Doom's attacking Doombots and gave the Fantastic Four the opportunity to regroup and mount a counteroffensive. The battle raged on, with the Fantastic Four fighting valiantly to protect their home. Sue Storm used her force fields to shield her teammates and trap the remaining Doombots, while Johnny Storm unleashed his full fiery fury to incinerate the invaders. Ben Grimm, the ever-loyal Thing, used his immense strength to smash through Doom's forces, clearing a path for Richards to reach the control center. In the control center, Richards confronted Doom directly through a holographic interface. The two intellectual titans engaged in a battle of wits and strategy, each trying to outmaneuver the other. Doom, confident in his superiority, taunted Richards, belittling his efforts and predicting his inevitable failure. However, Richards remained steadfast, using his knowledge of Doom's technology to hack into the control systems and shut down the remaining Doombots. With Doom's invasion thwarted, the Fantastic Four emerged victorious but not unscathed. The battle had taken a toll on the team, both physically and emotionally. They realized the extent to which Doom's manipulations had affected them and vowed to strengthen their bonds and work together more closely in the future. Doom, enraged by his latest defeat, retreated to Latveria to lick his wounds and plot his next move. He refused to accept that he could be bested by Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four. His obsession with defeating them and proving his superiority only grew stronger, driving him to new heights of madness and ambition. In his pursuit of ultimate power, Doom turned to ancient and forbidden knowledge. He sought out the Darkhold, a mystical tome said to contain the darkest secrets of the universe. The Darkhold's power was immense, but its use came at a great cost, corrupting the soul of anyone who dared to wield it. Undeterred, Doom delved into the book's arcane rituals, seeking to harness its power to achieve his goals. Doom's dabbling with the Darkhold attracted the attention of other mystical beings and entities, including the demon Mephisto. Mephisto, sensing an opportunity to corrupt and manipulate Doom, offered him a pact: unlimited power in exchange for his soul. Doom, confident in his ability to outsmart even the devil, accepted the deal, believing he could gain the power he sought without succumbing to Mephisto's influence. Empowered by the dark magics of the Darkhold and his pact with Mephisto, Doom launched his most ambitious plan yet. He aimed to merge the realms of science and magic, creating a new world order under his absolute rule. He constructed a colossal device, the Doom Gate, which would channel the combined energies of technology and sorcery to reshape reality itself. The activation of the Doomgate caused a massive disruption in the fabric of reality, drawing the attention of not only the Fantastic Four but also other heroes and mystical protectors. The combined forces of Earth's defenders converged on Latveria, determined to stop Doom's apocalyptic plan. The battle that ensued was a cataclysmic clash of powers, with heroes and villains fighting to determine the fate of the world. In the heart of the chaos, the Fantastic Four confronted Doom directly. Reed Richards, realizing that reason and negotiation would not sway Doom, devised a plan to neutralize the Doomgate's power. He and his teammates fought their way through Doom's defenses, overcoming both technological traps and magical wards. The final confrontation took place in the chamber housing the Doomgate, a swirling vortex of energy that threatened to consume everything. Richards, utilizing his scientific expertise, began to dismantle the Doomgate's core components, while his teammates held off Doom's relentless attacks. Doom, wielding the full might of his combined powers, fought with a fury born of desperation and obsession. The battle was fierce and brutal, with both sides suffering heavy losses. As Richards neared the completion of his task, Doom unleashed a final, desperate assault, channeling all his remaining power into a single devastating blast. Richards, using his stretching abilities, managed to shield himself and his teammates just in time. The blast struck the Doomgate instead, causing a catastrophic chain reaction. The Doomgate imploded, collapsing in on itself and creating a massive shockwave that reverberated across Latveria. Doom, caught in the epicenter of the explosion, was hurled into the vortex, his fate uncertain. The Fantastic Four, battered and exhausted, managed to escape the collapsing chamber, barely surviving the cataclysm. In the aftermath, Latveria lay in ruins, its once proud ruler seemingly vanquished. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the Fantastic Four knew that Doom's legacy would not be so easily erased. They remained vigilant, aware that Doom's insidious influence could still pose a threat in the future. Dr. Doom's conflict with the Fantastic Four had taken him to the heights of power and the depths of madness. His relentless pursuit of superiority over Reed Richards and his team defined his existence, driving him to ever more extreme measures. Despite his many defeats, Doom's brilliance, ambition, and unyielding resolve ensured that his shadow would continue to loom large over the Marvel Universe. His story was one of perpetual conflict, a testament to the indomitable will of a man who refused to accept anything less than ultimate victory. Victor Von Doom's legacy and influence reached far beyond his immediate battles with the Fantastic Four and his quests for mystical and technological dominance. His impact on the world, both directly and indirectly, shaped the destinies of countless individuals and nations. Doom's story is one of unparalleled ambition, relentless pursuit of power, and a complex interplay between his genius and his tragic flaws. As ruler of Latveria, Doom transformed the small, war-torn nation into a technological marvel. His reign brought about significant advancements in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. Latveria's citizens, though under a tyrannical rule, benefited from the stability and prosperity that Doom's leadership provided. Doom's technological innovations, from advanced robotics to energy production, made Latveria a formidable power on the global stage. His influence extended to international politics, where his presence was both feared and respected. Doom's diplomatic maneuvers were as cunning as his scientific and mystical pursuits. He formed alliances and manipulated global powers to further his own interests. One notable alliance was with the Submariner, Namor, the ruler of Atlantis. Both driven by a shared animosity towards the surface world and a desire for power, their partnership was marked by mutual respect and a fragile trust. Together, they launched coordinated attacks against their enemies, including the Fantastic Four. However, their alliance was always precarious, with both men seeking to outmaneuver each other when their goals diverged. Doom's legacy also influenced other villains and aspiring conquerors. Many saw him as the epitome of what a supervillain could achieve through intelligence, strategy, and sheer willpower. Characters like the Red Skull, Magneto, and the Mandarin found inspiration in Doom's methods and ambitions, often seeking to emulate his success. Doom's technological innovations were coveted by others, leading to numerous attempts to steal or replicate his designs. His influence on the villainous community was profound, shaping the tactics and goals of many who followed in his footsteps. However, Doom's impact was not limited to his fellow villains. Heroes and organizations dedicated to protecting the world also felt the weight of his legacy. The Fantastic Four, in particular, were forever changed by their encounters with Doom. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, became even more driven to innovate and protect humanity from threats, inspired by his rivalry with Doom. This rivalry pushed Richards to new heights of scientific discovery and reinforced his commitment to using his intellect for the greater good. Doom's presence loomed large in the lives of the Fantastic Four's members. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, often found herself grappling with the emotional toll of Doom's schemes, which frequently targeted her family. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, harbored a deep-seated anger towards Doom for the constant threats he posed. Ben Grimm, the Thing, used his strength and resilience to protect his friends, driven by a personal vendetta against Doom's relentless attacks. Doom's influence extended beyond his immediate conflicts. His actions indirectly led to the creation of new heroes and teams. For example, his incursions into other dimensions and realms often resulted in unforeseen consequences, such as the emergence of new threats or the awakening of latent powers in individuals. Heroes like Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, found themselves frequently crossing paths with Doom as their mystical pursuits intersected. Doom's attempts to conquer or control magical artifacts brought him into conflict with Strange, further entrenching his legacy in the mystical community. Despite his many failures and defeats, Doom's resilience and unwavering belief in his own superiority were central to his legacy. He refused to accept defeat, always returning with a new plan or strategy to achieve his goals. This tenacity made him one of the most persistent and dangerous adversaries in the Marvel Universe. Doom's influence on the future of Latveria and the world at large was undeniable, as his actions and innovations continued to shape the course of history. Doom's legacy was also marked by his complicated relationship with his heritage and family. His mother, Cynthia Von Doom, was a Romani whose tragic fate deeply influenced Victor's path. Her death at the hands of Mephisto drove Doom's initial foray into the mystical arts, as he sought to free her soul from the demon's grasp. This personal quest added a layer of complexity to Doom's character, revealing a man driven by a deep-seated desire to rectify the injustices done to his family. Doom's influence reached into the future through his heir, Christophe Bernard. Christophe, initially a young boy taken under Doom's wing, was brainwashed to believe he was Victor Von Doom after Doom's apparent death. This indoctrination was part of Doom's contingency plan to ensure his legacy endured. Christophe, adopting Doom's identity and methods, continued Doom's work and upheld his rule in Latveria. However, Christophe's tenure was marked by internal conflict, as he struggled with the duality of his own identity and the overwhelming presence of Doom's legacy. Victor Von Doom's legacy is a testament to the far-reaching consequences of one man's ambition and genius. His technological and mystical pursuits, his impact on global politics, and his influence on both heroes and villains left an indelible mark on the Marvel Universe. Doom's story is one of brilliance and tragedy, a relentless pursuit of power intertwined with personal vendettas and a deep-seated need for validation. His legacy, both feared and respected, continues to shape the world long after his time. Emperor Doom, Dr. Doom sat in the darkened chambers of his castle in Latveria, the shadows playing across his iron mask as he brooded over the past. Despite his unparalleled genius, his intellect that rivaled the gods, and his mastery over both science and sorcery, he had failed time and time again. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and countless other heroes had stood in his way, thwarting his ambitions for world domination. Each failure was a bitter reminder of his own perceived imperfections, a stark contrast to his otherwise immaculate view of himself. In his solitude, Doom reflected on his past endeavors. He remembered the times he had come so close to achieving his goals, only to be undone by what he considered lesser beings. His most recent plan had been his most ambitious, a device that could control the minds of others. However, it lacked the reach and power to subjugate the entire planet. As he pondered, a thought struck him, a way to enhance his device using an external power source. His mind immediately turned to the Purple Man, Zebediah Killgrave, whose pheromone-based mind control abilities were legendary. Doom began to devise a plan to capture Killgrave. He knew that the Purple Man was held in a high-security prison, designed to contain his extraordinary abilities. Doom's knowledge of technology and human psychology allowed him to craft a trap that would neutralize Killgrave's powers, if only temporarily. He worked tirelessly, constructing a containment chamber that would nullify the Purple Man's pheromones and render him powerless. Once the containment chamber was ready, Doom dispatched his robotic forces. His Doombots, equipped with advanced technology and weaponry, infiltrated the prison with surgical precision. The prison guards and security systems were no match for Doom's meticulous planning and superior technology. Despite his attempts to escape, Killgrave was swiftly overpowered and incapacitated. The Doombots transported him back to Latveria, where Doom awaited their return. In his castle, Doom watched as the Purple Man was secured in the specially designed containment chamber. The chamber's walls were lined with a unique alloy that absorbed and nullified Killgrave's pheromones, ensuring that he could not influence anyone within its confines. Killgrave, now a prisoner of Doom, seethed with rage and frustration, but he was helpless against the technological marvel that held him. With Killgrave in his possession, Doom turned his attention to the next phase of his plan. He began constructing a massive amplification device that could broadcast the Purple Man's mind-controlling pheromones across the globe. The device required a unique energy source, a rare crystal that Doom had acquired during his many adventures. The crystal's properties allowed it to channel and amplify energy to an extraordinary degree, making it the perfect power source for Doom's device. As Doom labored in his laboratory, he allowed himself a rare moment of reflection. He thought about his childhood, the tragedies that had shaped him, and the path that had led him to this point. The death of his mother, the scars he bore from his failed experiment in college, and his subsequent rise to power in Latveria. All of these experiences had forged him into the man he was today. He believed that his destiny was to rule the world, to bring order and prosperity where others had failed. Finally, after weeks of relentless work, the amplification device was complete. Doom stood before it, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. He knew that with this device, he could achieve his ultimate goal. He could bend the entire world to his will, creating a utopia where he reigned supreme. As he activated the device, a low hum filled the room, the crystal glowing with an eerie light. Doom watched as the energy coursed through the machine, ready to unleash its power upon the world. In that moment, Doom felt a sense of triumph unlike any he had ever known. He was on the verge of realizing his greatest ambition. The world would soon be his, and under his rule, it would achieve the peace and order it so desperately needed. He believed that only he, Victor Von Doom, possessed the vision and the strength to lead humanity into a new era. And with the Purple Man's power at his command, Nothing could stand in his way. Dr. Doom's plan required the capture of Zebediah Killgrave, the notorious Purple Man known for his mind control abilities. Killgrave was a formidable adversary whose powers could bend even the strongest wills to his command. He was imprisoned in a high-security facility designed specifically to contain his unique and dangerous abilities. Doom, in his castle in Latveria, began to meticulously plan the operation to capture Killgrave. Doom's strategy was precise and multifaceted. He designed advanced Doombots, robotic soldiers equipped with technology capable of neutralizing Killgrave's pheromones. Each Doombot was programmed with specific instructions to infiltrate the prison, incapacitate the guards, and secure Killgrave without fail. The Doombots were also equipped with energy dampeners that would temporarily nullify any attempts by Killgrave to use his mind control powers during the capture. Under the cover of darkness, Doom's Doombots launched their operation. They descended upon the high-security prison with military precision. The guards, trained to handle superhuman threats, were taken by surprise. The Doombots moved silently and efficiently, disabling security systems and overwhelming the guards with non-lethal force. The prison's alarms blared, but the Doombots were relentless, their metallic forms glinting in the sparse lighting. Inside his cell, Killgrave sensed the disturbance. He attempted to use his powers on the approaching Doombots, but found them immune to his pheromones. Frustration turned to panic as the Doombots breached his cell, their cold, unfeeling eyes fixed on him. Killgrave tried to escape, but the Doombots were too quick. They restrained him with energy shackles designed to suppress his abilities completely. With Killgrave securely bound, the Doombots transported him to a specially designed containment unit. The unit was lined with a unique alloy that absorbed and nullified his pheromones, rendering him powerless. As the transport vehicle left the prison grounds, the guards could only watch, helpless against the precision and power of Doom's technological prowess. The journey to Latveria was swift and uneventful. Killgrave, now a captive, seethed with anger and fear. He had always relied on his powers to manipulate and control those around him, but now he was utterly powerless. He knew that his captor was none other than Dr. Doom, a name that struck fear even in the hearts of villains. Upon arrival in Latveria, Killgrave was brought before Doom. The chamber where Doom awaited was dimly lit, the air thick with a sense of foreboding. Doom's imposing figure, clad in his iconic armor, stood in stark contrast to the restrained and vulnerable Killgrave. Doom's eyes, visible through the slits of his mask, gleamed with a cold determination. "Welcome to Latveria, Killgrave," Doom intoned, his voice resonating with authority. "You are now a tool in my grand design." Killgrave struggled against his restraints, but it was futile. The containment unit was flawless, a testament to Doom's unparalleled intellect. Doom approached, his gaze never leaving Killgrave's eyes. "Your powers are impressive, but they are nothing compared to the will of Doom." Doom activated the containment chamber, and the walls hummed with energy as the alloy absorbed any residual pheromones. Killgrave's mind control abilities were completely neutralized, leaving him defenseless. Doom watched with satisfaction as the Purple Man's defiance melted into despair. With Killgrave securely contained, Doom set to work. He began integrating Killgrave's unique abilities with his own technological advancements. The amplification device, already in an advanced stage of construction, required Killgrave's powers to reach its full potential. Doom worked tirelessly, his genius mind focused on every detail, ensuring that the device would function flawlessly. As Doom labored, he thought about the world he was about to create. A world where chaos and disorder were replaced by his iron-fisted rule. He envisioned a utopia, a new world order where his intellect and vision would guide humanity to greatness. He believed that only through his control could true peace and prosperity be achieved. The amplification device took shape, a marvel of engineering and malevolent intent. It was designed to broadcast Kilgrave's mind-controlling pheromones across the globe, subjugating every human being to Doom's will. The device was powered by a rare crystal, its energy channeled through intricate circuits and amplifiers. Doom tested the device on a small scale, ensuring that it functioned perfectly. Finally, the day came when the device was ready. Doom stood before it, his heart filled with anticipation and triumph. He knew that, with the flip of a switch, he would become the ruler of the world. As he activated the device, the crystal glowed with an eerie light, and the chamber filled with a low hum. In that moment, Doom felt a surge of satisfaction. He had captured the Purple Man, harnessed his powers, and built a device that would bring the world under his control. The world would soon know the true genius and power of Dr. Doom. And with his new weapon, nothing would stand in his way. In the heart of his Latverian stronghold, Dr. Doom stood before his latest and most ambitious creation, the amplification device. This machine, a testament to his unparalleled genius, was designed to broadcast the mind-controlling abilities of the captured Purple Man across the globe. The device was intricate, a complex network of circuits, amplifiers, and conduits powered by a rare and potent crystal. The crystal, known as the Heart of Genghis, was a unique artifact Doom had acquired during his many adventures. It was a source of immense power, capable of channeling and amplifying energy to extraordinary degrees. Doom had spent years studying its properties, unlocking its secrets, and now it would serve as the core of his grand design. He had crafted a containment chamber specifically for the crystal, ensuring it could interface seamlessly with the rest of the device. With Kilgrave securely imprisoned, Doom began the delicate process of integrating the Purple Man's abilities into the machine. He constructed an array of sensors and conduits that would draw out and amplify Kilgrave's pheromones, converting them into a signal that the device could broadcast. This task required a level of precision that only Doom could achieve. He worked tirelessly, his hands deftly assembling components, his mind calculating every variable. The laboratory buzzed with activity as Doom's Doombots assisted in the construction. These robotic servants, designed to follow Doom's commands with unwavering loyalty, were indispensable. They handled tasks that required brute strength or repetitive precision, freeing Doom to focus on the more intricate aspects of the device. As the machine took shape, its purpose became clear: to subjugate the entire planet to Doom's will. Doom's thoughts often wandered to the future he envisioned. He saw a world free from chaos, disorder, and conflict. A world where his intellect and vision would guide humanity to unparalleled heights. He believed that only through his control could true peace and prosperity be achieved. This belief fueled his determination, driving him to perfect every detail of the device. Once the initial construction was complete, Doom began testing the machine on a smaller scale. He selected a remote Latverian village as his test site, using the device to broadcast a limited signal. The results were immediate and astounding. The villagers, going about their daily lives, suddenly found their wills bent to Doom's command. They followed his orders without question, their minds completely subjugated. Encouraged by this success, Doom expanded the tests to larger populations. He targeted cities in neighboring countries, carefully observing the effects. Each time, the results were consistent: total and unwavering obedience. The world began to notice the strange behavior changes in these areas, but the cause remained undetected, masked by Doom's technological prowess. As the final phase of the project approached, Doom made further refinements to the device. He enhanced the amplifiers, ensuring that the signal would be strong enough to reach every corner of the globe. He calibrated the sensors to maximize the extraction of Kilgrave's pheromones, optimizing the conversion process. Each adjustment brought him closer to his ultimate goal. In the moments of quiet between his labors, Doom reflected on his journey. He thought about his childhood, the tragedies and betrayals that had shaped him. The death of his mother at the hands of Mephisto, the scarring accident during his college years, and his rise to power in Latveria. Each event had forged him into the man he was. His ambition, his drive, and his genius were all born from these experiences. Finally, the day came when the device was ready for full activation. Doom stood before it, his heart filled with anticipation and triumph. He had spent countless hours perfecting this machine, and now he would see his vision realized. He activated the device, and the heart of Genghis glowed with an eerie light, its energy coursing through the amplifiers and conduits. The device emitted a low hum as it powered up, the signal beginning to broadcast. In that moment, Doom felt a surge of satisfaction. He knew that with this device, he could bend the entire world to his will. He imagined a utopia where he reigned supreme, where his intellect and vision guided humanity to greatness. As the signal spread, people across the globe began to fall under Doom's control. Governments, armies, and even superheroes became his obedient servants. The world changed overnight, with Doom issuing his first global decree, an immediate end to all conflicts. Wars ceased, crime rates plummeted, and Doom's vision of order began to take shape. Doom watched as his dream became reality. He believed that he had finally achieved his destiny, that only under his rule could the world achieve true peace and prosperity. With the Purple Man's power at his command, nothing could stand in his way. The world was now his, and under his iron-fisted rule, it would flourish as never before. Dr. Doom, now possessing the most powerful mind control device ever conceived, knew that before unleashing it upon the entire world, he had to ensure its flawless operation. The stakes were too high for any margin of error. He chose a small, remote village in Latveria as his initial test site, a place where any anomalies could be easily contained and studied without drawing too much attention. The villagers, unaware of the impending experiment, went about their daily routines. Farmers tended to their crops, children played in the streets, and shopkeepers busily arranged their wares. Overlooking the village from his fortress, Doom activated the device, sending out a signal infused with Kilgrave's pheromones, amplified to a degree far beyond what the Purple Man could achieve on his own. As the signal reached the village, the effects were immediate and profound. People halted in their activities, their eyes glazing over as the device took control of their minds. Farmers stopped mid-harvest, tools slipping from their hands. Children paused in their games, and shopkeepers stood motionless behind their counters. Doom watched intently, his keen eyes noting every detail. With a series of precise commands, Doom tested the villagers' obedience. He instructed them to perform various tasks, from simple actions like raising their hands to more complex directives, such as gathering in the village square and forming intricate patterns. The villagers complied without hesitation or resistance, their minds completely dominated by the signal. Satisfied with the initial results, Doom decided to escalate the experiment. He instructed the villagers to construct a monument in his honor. Despite their lack of architectural skills, they set to work with unwavering determination, guided by Doom's precise instructions transmitted through the device. Within hours, a crude but recognizable statue of Doom began to take shape in the village square. To further assess the device's range and effectiveness, Doom expanded the test to include a nearby city. This city, larger and more populated than the village, would present a more significant challenge. As the amplified signal spread, the city's inhabitants experienced the same immediate and absolute compliance. Traffic came to a standstill as drivers abandoned their vehicles. Office workers stopped typing mid-sentence, and pedestrians froze in place. Again, Doom issued a series of commands. The city's residents obeyed with mechanical precision. He ordered them to clean the streets, and they moved in unison, gathering litter and debris. He instructed them to organize themselves into groups based on occupation, and they did so without question. Each task, no matter how complex, was carried out flawlessly. As Doom observed the results, his confidence in the device grew. The data collected from these tests confirmed the device's ability to control large populations seamlessly. Yet, Doom knew that the true test would be the reaction of the world's most powerful entities, the governments, the military forces, and the superheroes. To test this, Doom carefully selected a location known for its strategic importance and strong defenses, a military base in a neighboring country. This base was well fortified and housed elite soldiers trained to resist various forms of psychological warfare. Doom viewed this as the perfect proving ground for his device's ultimate capabilities. Activating the device, Doom directed the signal towards the base. Soldiers patrolling the perimeter, technicians monitoring systems, and officers strategizing in the command center all succumbed to the mind control signal. The change was instantaneous. Their disciplined movements slowed, and they became eerily synchronized, like puppets on invisible strings. Doom issued a series of commands, testing the soldiers' obedience to complex and dangerous orders. He instructed them to disarm their weapons and stack them neatly in the center of the base. They did so without hesitation, their military training rendered irrelevant under the influence of the signal. He then ordered them to form precise battle formations, which they executed flawlessly, demonstrating the device's ability to control even the most highly trained individuals. Pushing the limits further, Doom commanded the base's commanding officer to communicate with higher military authorities and declare their loyalty to Doom. The officer, his will completely subjugated, transmitted the message without question. This action caused a ripple of confusion and concern within the military hierarchy, but the source of the mind control remained undetected. The successful subjugation of the military base convinced Doom of his device's efficacy. He had managed to control a diverse range of individuals, from simple villagers and city dwellers to elite soldiers, without any resistance. The tests had proven that his device could dominate any population, regardless of size or complexity. However, Doom knew that the true test lay ahead. Controlling isolated populations and strategic locations was one thing, but bringing the entire world under his control would require a perfect execution. As he deactivated the device, the controlled individuals returned to their normal states, oblivious to the influence they had been under. They resumed their activities as if nothing had happened, with no memory of their time under Doom's command. Back in his fortress, Doom reviewed the data collected from the tests. The results were beyond his expectations. The device was ready for global activation. Doom's thoughts turned to the future, a future where he would be the undisputed ruler of the world. Under his command, humanity would reach new heights of order and prosperity. He envisioned a world free from the chaos of free will, a world where his intellect and vision would guide every action. As he prepared for the final phase of his plan, Doom felt a sense of triumph. He had overcome every obstacle, harnessed the power of the Purple Man, and created a device capable of subjugating the entire planet. The world was on the brink of a new era, an era where Dr. Doom would reign supreme. With the successful tests behind him, Dr. Doom prepared for the final activation of his mind control device. The ultimate goal was within his grasp, to subjugate the entire world and bend it to his indomitable will. In his laboratory, surrounded by the hum of machinery and the glow of monitors, Doom reviewed the intricate details of his plan one last time. Doom's first step was to ensure the device's power supply was stable and capable of sustaining the global broadcast. The heart of Genghis, the rare crystal at the core of the device, pulsed with a steady, potent energy. Doom had meticulously calibrated its interaction with the device's amplifiers and conduits, guaranteeing that the signal would be strong enough to cover the entire planet. Doom stood before the control panel, his ironclad fingers hovering over the activation switch. He took a moment to reflect on his journey, every trial and triumph, every step that had led him to this pivotal moment. He had faced countless adversaries, but now, his vision for a world under his rule was about to be realized. With a decisive motion, he activated the device. The heart of Genghis flared with an intense, eerie light, sending energy coursing through the amplification device. A low hum filled the chamber, gradually rising in pitch as the machine powered up. The device emitted a signal, invisible but potent, spreading outwards from Doom's castle, expanding to cover Latveria and beyond. As the signal propagated, people across Latveria halted in their tracks. Their eyes glazed over, and their movements became robotic. The mind control signal had taken hold. Doom issued a series of commands, testing their obedience. He ordered the citizens to gather in the central square and kneel before the statue of himself that had been constructed during the initial tests. The people obeyed without hesitation, moving in perfect unison. Doom watched from a high balcony, his cape billowing in the wind. Below him, thousands of Latverians knelt in silent, unwavering devotion. Satisfied, he turned his attention to the next phase, expanding the signal to neighboring countries. He adjusted the controls, amplifying the signal further, ensuring it would reach every corner of the globe. As the signal spread across Europe, the effects were immediate. In major cities and small towns alike, people stopped whatever they were doing and fell under Doom's control. Traffic came to a standstill, businesses shut down, and government operations ceased. World leaders, unaware of the source of the phenomenon, were rendered helpless as their citizens fell into a trance-like state. In the United States, the signal reached major metropolitan areas like New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles. The Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes, were among the first to feel the effects. Iron Man, in the middle of a flight, suddenly veered off course and landed in Central Park, joining the throngs of mind-controlled citizens. Captain America, while training at Avengers Mansion, dropped his shield and stood at attention, his will subsumed by the signal. Even the Hulk, in his banner form, found himself unable to resist, his immense strength rendered useless against Doom's technology. The military, despite their extensive training and psychological resilience, were equally affected. Soldiers on bases around the world froze, their weapons falling from their hands. High-ranking officials, including generals and admirals, lost their capacity for independent thought, their strategic minds bent to Doom's commands. The world's defenses were neutralized in an instant, their might now under Doom's control. From his command center, Doom issued a global decree. His voice, transmitted through the device, reached every corner of the world. "Citizens of Earth," he began, his tone authoritative and unyielding. "I am Dr. Doom. You are now under my protection and command. Obey my laws, and you will know peace and prosperity. Resist, and you will face my wrath." Doom's decree was met with immediate compliance. Governments capitulated, their leaders powerless to resist the will of their people. Laws were enacted overnight, establishing Doom's rule as absolute. The world fell into a synchronized order, each action guided by Doom's vision. Crime rates plummeted, conflicts ceased, and society began to function with an efficiency never before seen. However, not everyone succumbed to Doom's control. A small group of heroes, shielded by their unique abilities or sheer willpower, managed to resist. Among them were Doctor Strange, whose mastery of the mystic arts provided a barrier against the signal, and Wolverine, whose healing factor counteracted the pheromone's effects. These heroes, scattered across the globe, formed a clandestine resistance, determined to free the world from Doom's grasp. Doctor Strange, from his Sanctum Sanctorum, sensed the dark energy emanating from Latveria. He quickly gathered his allies, using his magic to shield them from the mind control signal. Together, they devised a plan to infiltrate Doom's fortress and destroy the amplification device. They knew the task would be perilous. Doom's defenses were formidable, and the device was heavily guarded by Doombots and mind-controlled soldiers. As the Resistance prepared for their mission, Doom continued to consolidate his power. He established new laws, restructuring society to fit his vision of order and efficiency. Under his rule, technology and industry flourished. Medical advancements accelerated, and poverty was eradicated. Yet the cost was freedom. The world had traded its liberty for the stability of Doom's iron-fisted reign. The Resistance, led by Doctor Strange, made their way to Latveria under the cover of night. They encountered numerous challenges, from advanced security systems to patrols of Doombots. Each obstacle was met with determination and ingenuity. Doctor Strange used his magic to cloak their movements, while Wolverine's keen senses guided them through the labyrinthine corridors of Doom's fortress. Finally, they reached the heart of the stronghold, where the amplification device stood. Its eerie light bathed the chamber in an otherworldly glow. The heart of Genghis pulsed with power, its energy maintaining the global signal. Doom, aware of the intrusion, confronted the heroes, his eyes blazing with fury. "You dare to challenge me?" Doom's voice echoed through the chamber. "You will find that Doom is not so easily defeated." A fierce battle ensued. Doctor Strange wielded his mystic arts, casting spells to counter Doom's technological prowess. Wolverine, with his adamantium claws, slashed through Doombots, clearing a path to the device. The heroes fought with every ounce of strength and skill, knowing that the fate of the world depended on their success. As the battle raged, Doctor Strange focused his energy on the heart of Genghis. He chanted incantations, drawing upon ancient magic to disrupt the crystal's power. The heart of Genghis began to crack, its light flickering as the spell took hold. Doom, realizing the danger, intensified his attacks, but the heroes pressed on. With a final, powerful incantation, Doctor Strange shattered the heart of Genghis. The amplification device faltered, its hum dying down to silence. The global signal ceased, and people around the world began to regain their free will. Confusion and disorientation spread as the mind control influence dissipated. Doom, deprived of his ultimate weapon, was left to face the heroes alone. Despite his formidable abilities, he was eventually overpowered. The Resistance had succeeded in their mission, freeing the world from Doom's grasp. The fortress, now in disarray, echoed with the sounds of victory and the collapse of Doom's reign. As the heroes emerged from the fortress, they were greeted by a world in recovery. Governments and societies began to rebuild, reclaiming their autonomy. The victory was hard-won, but it was a testament to the resilience of free will and the indomitable spirit of those who refused to be controlled. In the aftermath, Doctor Strange and the other heroes vowed to remain vigilant. They knew that threats to freedom and justice would always arise, but they were prepared to face them, united in their determination to protect the world from tyranny. Doom, defeated but unbroken, was confined to his own fortress, plotting his next move, ever the relentless adversary. The world, once more free, began the slow process of healing and rebuilding. The scars of Doom's brief reign remained, a reminder of the cost of complacency and the eternal struggle for liberty. The heroes, having triumphed against overwhelming odds, stood as symbols of hope and resilience, ready to defend the future from any threat that might arise.